Hello, everyone. Welcome to the
State of the market.
January 2024 State of the Market. Um, yeah, I didn't even change the banner here, so I still have December 2023. So that's what's throwing me off. Hope everyone has a happy New Year. Al, how are you?
I'm good, man. Hanging in there. We're
Good.
already in February, if you can believe it.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. We're already 8% through the year, which is just crazy.
I know.
And so, state of the market, we have some golden and PWCC to go over. But kind of the first thing I wanted to talk about was the new happenings at the National. There's going to be a soccer show. Kind of piggybacking the National for 3 of the nights. I think it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday of the National. And so I guess this is also part of the soccer card market discussion. So positive sign that there's something, an event solely for soccer cards. Thought that was pretty cool. I'm actually going to pull up the website just so anybody that wants to check it out. It's the SocoExpo.com. And so it's going to be at night. So basically just after the National closes down. And apparently they're going to have shuttles going from the National to this, to wherever this event is. But there's going to be 100 plus tables, giveaways, live breaks, food and beverage provided, shuttles to the venue, and security and kids section. So kind of cool. We're not getting paid for this. It's just something to kind of share with everyone if you're thinking about going to the National. Hopefully there will be a decent amount of soccer, and hopefully there's enough people that want to set up at this to make it, worth everyone's while. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm far from, committed, there to get a, for instance, a table. But obviously, I love this idea. I think it's great. I think part of the problem the National has is that there's always been such a backlog of dealers that, nobody turns over their space, or very few people do. And then there's the long list of people that want those spaces. And almost all of them are the OG baseball guys.
Yep.
There's no tables at the National for underrepresented sports. Greetings, you all, especially from Romania. It's I guess it's still not too late over there.
Yep.
But yeah, so I think that this could be good in terms of, having some more stuff to look at, because you walk around the National and you can go 10, 15, 20 tables and not see anything soccer.
Yep. And I have to feel like it's going to be, mainly modern and things like that, of course. But, I know there will be some vintage represented, because I will at least be sure to attend. So I don't know which side of the table it'll be, but there will definitely be some representation, and decisions can be made moving forward. So anyway, just thought I'd share that, just because it's kind of a cool thing that Adam is doing, Cleveland soccer cards. And I shared his post on Instagram from my personal account and from the Discord. So if you go to my story today, you'll see the post with like links and things like that. So anyway, just thought I would share that. Anything beyond that you have thoughts on, or do you want to get going on the auctions?
Yeah, I would say, Yeah, not really. I think we can get going on the auctions.
Okay. Let's start with PWCC Premier, and we'll go from there. There's 3 items in the Premier auction that were soccer. So we have the Panini Instant Messi Auto for 126 grand.
Yeah, that's crazy because there's like, I mean, I know that's the 1 of 1. It's got the auto, but it's a sticker auto. I love the photo. It's crazy to me that an instant would go for this much, but I mean, it is the most iconic moment of his career, really.
Yeah.
So I can see the appeal. I would wish if it was on card, I could see the appeal even much more. This was way more than I expected.
Yeah, I mean, it almost feels like this. I mean, it's the right time to sell, right? Just because it's he's still on a heater overall, and
yeah.
So now we have the 2 Alifas, some better grades than what we've been typically seeing for sale. We've been seeing a lot of 1s, 2s, and 3s, and half grades in between. But to see a 4 and a 6 sell, I mean, I feel like I guess we've seen a 4 sell, but I thought last time we saw a 4, it was like in the 30s. Is that right?
Yeah, I want to say even upper 30s. So
yeah,
I think just the amount of Alifas that have come out in the last 4 to 5 months has really driven this card down. There's not that many people looking to trade in a car for a piece of cardboard. Right. And here you've got a lot of them. A 6 for 50. Those used to be well into the hundreds. Now everything's down. Anywhere between 30s. Well, not everything, right? Some pre-worse just continue to gone up, but from 30% to 90%. So I guess at a 50%, it's not terrible. Right. But I think really also looking at the individual cards, like here, you can just see the richness in colors on the 6.
Yeah. The 4 looks pretty,
washed. It looks faded, washed out. That 6 is just really nice.
Yeah.
So, at whatever it was it 53? I can't really read.
Yep. 53 for the 6.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I mean, I think the market needs a little, cool down from sales of Alifas for a while.
Yeah.
If there's going to be any hope of any material bounce back.
So basically it's looking like we're not hitting 100K unless you have an 8, right? Like, I mean, that's kind of how it feels like at this point.
Yeah. I mean, certainly based on these, and we'll see some other ones in the golden stuff. I don't, maybe a 7.5, which I don't know how many of those there are out there, but it certainly doesn't feel like it.
Yeah. And I feel like it probably takes a turn, like at a higher degree once you get up to those higher grades too. You know what I mean? It's not going to be like just like a double. It's going to start like kind of going up at a higher clip, multiplier wise. At least that's the way I would think it would be, because you're not going to get like a 9 for 200,000,
Yeah. So. Yeah. I can't imagine that because weirder things have happened in the world.
True.
But I think also in the market, you saw that that MJ rookie, not that we're talking about basketball, but the MJ PSA 10 NBA gold sticker. Did you see that result?
I did not.
So yeah, that went to 380,000 right now. So what if you chart kind of what's happening in general, and again, it's kind of like the stock market, the stock market does this, but individual stocks can do different things. Even when the stock market's up, there are individual stocks that are going the other direction. So it's always hard to talk about the market, but if you map the soccer card market, against sports cards in general. There's a little bit of a timing difference, but in general, all of the markets have seen kind of this big spike, this little lull, another spike even higher after those Decembers, and then a lull, and then a settling in at a substantial premium to kind of pre-pandemic levels, but way off of those peak highs.
Right.
Right. And so that's why I think like the MJ rookie and stuff are always important leaders, because what I think you see over a number of cards is, the MJ kind of stopped down at about, 180, 200,000 PSA 10. And now it's bouncing, or at least that copy, because it had the gold sticker. Another copy was like in the low 200s, I think. But 380, that's kind of a big jump. And I think it's making some people wonder, as many assets have kind of hit bottom and kind of bounced from there, whether it's, Bitcoin or even the stock market is pretty much at all-time new highs. So depending on what you're looking at. So, I feel like you never like to call bottom in a market, no financial advice, but I think there's a number of signs that it may be there on a number of cards. I mean, and I think this Panini Instant here, we're going to see the Messi PSA 10 that just went in golden, that card as well. I think the Alifas were the slowest to move down, and I think they've lagged, but I think the quantity of them being sold for the last 5 months, because now there's more than 100, so you're going to see these all the time. I think that's kind of been a bit of a drag there, but there's always sub context in the market. So anyway, long way of saying that that I think we're much closer to the bottom than maybe others think. I certainly think that that these are good signs for strengthening of the market.
Yeah, I have to imagine that we are, because we've lost most of the people who are exiting, after the pandemic ended, and yeah, I think there's definitely the people who are here are likely here, at least a vast majority of them, and there's always new entrants. So I'm sorry, I'm just trying to get this golden set up.
Yeah, so, no problem.
All right. All right, so here is the Golden Elite. And I'm basically sorting from highest to lowest. So here's what you were talking about: the PSA 10 Messi for 322,000.
Yeah,
that seems really solid, right?
Yeah, the last one was a little over 250, I think. So that's like a little less than 30% increase. And this particular 10 isn't what I would have called a strong 10. So this was kind of, if you flipped it over, God, I looked at it and compared it to my 9s. I thought my 9s looked better in terms of this one had some white on the reverse edges and whatnot. So, I think it's a big number for a not to my eyes a 10. But I think it's really good for the hobby. In fact, I had made a prediction in my 2024 video that we wouldn't see a soccer card sale greater than 250, and I'm already wrong on that, and I'm happy to be wrong on that, right?
Yeah, happy to be. Yeah,
I'm very much happy to be wrong on that. So I think the 10 you'll recall is a pop. 19 now, it was 20 at some point, so I don't know if somebody sent in one of these and got it regraded and it wasn't a 10 anymore, so one went away. So that's a super small pop in the scheme of things, and the super elite collectors are going to go after those just like they do in the MJ rookies.
Yeah. All right, and right next door we have the PSA 7 Pele that went for 85. So that seems like an appropriate bump for the grade higher.
Yeah, I mean, I know it's a lot of money, right? But you go from 53 in the 6, only one grade higher, and it goes all the way up to 85. But it kind of gets like that in this exponential way towards the top end of the grades. If you think about the Messi, for instance, the PSA 9 sell in the 20s or have, maybe that bumps up a bit, 20K. So you're talking about a 15x to the top grade, and there's only 49s or 45 nines or something, right? And so my question to you though, on this other Pele, this the 5, but it's autographed.
Yep.
And it's the pre-shaky autograph. Like, which one of these would you prefer?
Oh, I'm not much of an autograph, like a personalized or personal autograph. Like if it's not like a what am I trying to come up with? What do you call it when it's from the company, the card companies? You know, like I think like in-person autographs, I'm less apt to be excited about, I guess. So I would much rather have a rookie card without an autograph.
So you'd rather have this PSA 7 because then the 5 with the autograph. Okay, so
like I would rather have like an autographed card of a non-rookie. You know what I mean? Like I insert some other card. Like I'd rather have one of those like WS Verlag, you know, ones where like he's holding the trophy or something. Like to me, that would be where I would want the autograph. But I get that we all collect differently. So yeah, I definitely personally rather have the bump up in 2 grades and get the 7. How about yourself?
Yeah, I think I would go the other direction, maybe because I have already some Alifas that I'm happy with in my collection.
Yeah.
Just because of the uniqueness of an old autograph on an Alifa, you know, I think those have got to be, there's only got to be a few of those. And I think it's super, you know, unique. And it is the nice autograph. There's a lot of stuff in slabs with Pele with the jagged, you know, autograph, which to me, I decrease. Like, I almost don't want any of those autographs. It feels weird to me because I felt like he's getting taken advantage of as he was ill towards his last days, just signing. And it wasn't, I don't know. There's something about those earlier autographs that I really like. I think in the ideal autograph situation, it would be a vintage autograph on a card. That is super cool. You know, if you got the full Edison Arantes, right, on a vintage card, like one of those Verlags or anything else, which I've never seen, that to me would be kind of off the charts, you know, attractive. But I still find this one attractive, which was probably signed 15 years ago. It's still pretty cool.
Oh yeah, totally. It is cool. And it's definitely like, if you're looking at scarcity, I mean, that's going to be more scarce for sure. Yeah, it's just an all preference thing, I think. So
yeah, and yeah, it's not a crappy card. It's a 5, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's a nice card too.
Yeah. All right. Well, these things seem to have held the pricing, you know,
right?
Like,
isn't that this is probably the single largest surprise to me in 2024.
Yep.
Almost $20,000 for what to me isn't overly, I mean, it's nice, but it's like oversized. It just, I don't know. There's something about it that I just don't absolutely love. I mean, it's a great image, but just $20,000 seems really high to me. What were your thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of discounted those personally. So there's a total bias, you know, anti-bias, whatever you want to say, for those reasons. Like, I understand that like we don't see a lot of those for sale, but it's not like we haven't seen those over the years for sale. So
yeah,
like what some people might think of as these are uber scarce. I'm not sure I agree with that.
Yeah.
So I think that maybe chasing a pop report would be, not the best idea for these. But yeah, I mean, to me, that's a really, really good return for that. But like, if you're gonna like this whole row, like that's probably the number 3 item I would want out of this row. So
I'd take same with me. I think you could dig. I mean, I'm not a Holland collector or anything. I don't even know if that's the gold or whatever, the 9.5. I'd probably take that. And again, that just goes to show you how, like, because it's modern, it's Holland. I don't collect like gold refractors or anything like that. I'd probably take that over this Pele. So to me, it's just it blows my mind. On the vintage side, I think that's to me again a pretty strong price for the Aquarella signed Pele as well. Although I thought it did considerably better in the HA auction, if this is the same one I was thinking of.
I'm pretty sure it is, and I think that the autograph on here looks really, really good. I think even better than on the Alifa.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just because it's a bigger
card
item to sign on,
Yeah.
So, all right, a 2 for 15K.
And those are down. I mean, I want to say like last year, those were mid-20s. So
yeah,
it's another show of kind of the weakness as so many Alifas have come to market. That Di Stefano jersey, I just couldn't get comfortable on as usual, on the provenance. There's no number 9 on the back or any identifier. So it's just like, man, what the hell? Somebody said it was Di Stefano, so therefore it is.
Right.
Go up to that Pele that was almost 6,000. So this is a postcard. And there's 2 versions of this one, and then one where he's dribbling. You don't see a lot of those either, but that's a shocking sale to me as well. That seemed much higher than I would have expected it to go.
Yeah. And I mean, it could just be, I mean, it is a scarce item. You don't see a ton of them. So like, I get it. If people have been around for years, they may have not, since the boom even, they may never have seen one of these before, so I can see where that would draw some people's eyes. All right. Some more autos, lots of autos.
Yeah, did you
pulling
see
good
that,
prices?
Yeah, I thought all this stuff was relatively strong. What did you think about that right there, that program? We haven't seen that green one in the middle. We haven't seen a lot of periodicals. Like there's some great El Gráfico like out there that you can grade. You can grade a lot of this stuff now, and I thought that was kind of way more than I expected this to go. Like I honestly thought this would be like a 700 to 1,000 item, beautiful image on it and stuff, but it's a program.
Is that the same image as the
Card Master?
Yeah,
I don't think so. But I thought the same. It's like at a slightly different angle. You got a slight
same jersey.
Here.
That's kind of probably what's drawing me to it. Yeah,
exactly. Which is actually one of the reasons why I have the Card Master as 59 and PSA has it as 60, because this is a 59 program.
Yeah, but you'd think the photos would be making the rounds at the same time. And
yeah, I do feel like on this one, this could be, as far as we talk about the market, this could be a point where a sale like this gets people interested in grading some of these programs or magazines, because this is a hefty sale.
Yeah.
Many orders of magnitude higher than I've ever seen for programs. And I don't know if it's because it's graded or if it's, just an anomaly or just because it's such a beautiful image. A couple people felt like they had to have it, but it could be a jumping off point in the sub market of programs and periodicals in the soccer space. I don't know. I don't want to read too much into one sale, but I thought of that when I saw this result.
Yeah, I wonder. I wonder like what the motivation was for the bidders. Like, is it? I never see any of these. So like any programs from back in the day. So like I'm gonna bid, or is it because it's a 59? It's right after he won the World Cup. Like, and is it just like would a 62 program get you $80? Like I mean, I'm just curious as to like, is it like you say, is it a one-off? Is it just because like what variables were there that caused it to get this high? Hopefully it's that there's an interest there, and because at some point with soccer being the inventory being so low, people are going to have to branch out into other things to get things from particular eras. So maybe this is the route.
Yeah, and I hope it's that, right? I mean, because that would be great. And I honestly think a lot of the images on these things are just amazing. Like that image is fantastic. It's hard to imagine a better looking program, right? But it certainly is interesting because never seen those, and it could be a new budding area of interest in the hobby.
Yep. Here we are with the 86 titulares, and one
How
of
was the back on that one?
It's pretty beat up. Let me see if I can pull that up.
It's okay. It's okay. A beat up back, we kind of know. I mean, there was, that. Oh, that's super beat up.
Yeah.
It's about as beat up as it gets, right?
Yeah.
For $4,000.
Yeah. I mean, it is one of it's not the most common front for the 86, right? It doesn't have the star with it.
Doesn't have the star, yeah. So it's the second toughest, right?
Yeah.
Or the middle one, I guess, if you want to call it that.
Yeah. And for people that aren't aware, the fronts have where there's a star right up here with the facsimile autograph, and then there's this one that just has the facsimile, and then there's one that doesn't have either. And the one without either is the most uncommon.
And PSA does not differentiate those. So if you're looking at the pop report, all three of those versions are in the same line on number 86 on titulares on the PSA pop report.
Yeah. So you can, it's kind of like the Campione.
Yeah.
We're never going to have the right numbers, even if they started doing it now.
Yeah.
This is a cool one. This is one that I like really,
beautiful.
So good. Like the contrast between the autograph and the car or the sticker, that's cool.
I actually think that was my favorite autographed card. I I wasn't chasing this stuff that much, but I really liked that one in terms of just the eye appeal and the sticker and the smile and the flags all around. I mean, what a beautiful display piece.
Yeah, and then here we have the Crying Pele. It's a PSA 1. Definitely has some stuff going on in the back, but get one for $3,000. When we saw higher grade ones were anywhere between 20,000 plus, at least at the peak.
I think 40 for a 7.
Even up to 40. Yeah.
And I think even in the low grade, like the very first low grade of these to go went for like 30.
Yeah.
Right. So that was crazy. So now it's down about 90%, but still holding $3,000 for it's still a big price. And the one next to it, you don't see that often. If you look closely, which you can't see from here, there's some pencil writing on the top. So not unsurprising that it goes for that price. I think without the pencil, it probably goes for more.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good one. That's whoever bought that, I think, should be happy because it's not one we see a ton of.
Yep.
PSA 8 Vanderhook 2,800.
Yeah, how the mighty have fallen because there's just so many questions around those high grade ones there. It's just brutal.
Yeah. Like, here's a signed Bremer Fockring with Pele. That's like, would you prefer I know you already have one, but like the Crying Pele without the autograph, or this with?
Oh, I don't know. It's probably a toss up. I think they're both awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and here you're seeing some rarer, like that the Quisho Pele. That's pretty rare card.
Yeah.
2000. Here's the other version of the 58 postcard 2000. You got some modern Alan Ginter ones going for 1500.
Here's your favorite.
Not my favorite for sure, but I get it. The that was an 8 Roberto Carlos rookie there. Went for 1300.
Yeah.
There's 62 Nanina, the rarer look, for 1,000. Yeah, I think that some strength in the 1960s kind of rarer issues for Pele continued.
Yeah.
That one went for 800. It has a damaged back. This used to be yours a while ago, right? Or was it?
This particular one belonged to me. So, I mean, it's nice that it still held the close to what I sold it for. Yeah. Here's Ed wanted to hear what we said about the Wharton. That's something that we didn't even get to. So,
yeah, we haven't gotten to that yet.
So we'll kind of go to that after this, because when did we talk about that?
Yeah, we're almost at like $800, right? I mean, $700.
So we'll get through this, and then we'll scroll really quickly through the weekly ones if there's anything.
That 61 or 62 EDI is a classic card.
Oh yeah.
This particular one I think had a pretty ugly back, and that's what I think kept it down, because normally I would have expected this to do better.
Yeah. The Vavs have definitely taken a hit in value.
I don't really get it, but they've really taken a bath.
Yeah. So I think, we kind of knocked out most of the higher end stuff from the Pele. This was a lot of these were submitted by a member of the Discord, and he's, using that money for something pretty cool. So, yeah, it's kind of, I'm glad that I feel like the prices were pretty good overall. There's, some things that you could probably say ended up being a deal. And then some other ones we were surprised at the result. So, in a positive way. So, it's kind of tough when you have so much inventory for sale at one time. People can't afford to buy everything. So you just got to hope that different things catch different people's eyes, So yeah, I don't think there's much else to go beyond this. Did you happen to pick anything up from this auction?
I did. I picked up like
this one here.
5 or 6. Yeah, I did not pick up that one.
Okay.
I picked up a lot of them like in the probably towards the bottom of your list here, because they were mostly like $150. Some of the 66 kind of rarer versions, the AMBC wrapper stuff. I mean, really kind of down at the bottom stuff of just things that I think I may have got one of those Puska signed. I don't know if it's that one or something else.
Cool.
Yeah, I got some of these. Actually, keep scrolling down. Let me see if I can. Wow, that's 62 JDS Campos. That's super cheap.
Yeah, I felt the same thing for the 65.
Yeah, and that, yes, I mean, look at down here. When you were down in here, there were some bargains to be had. So
yeah.
Keep scrolling down. I guess I'm on the third page. That's the real cheap stuff.
Yeah, I actually bought this here.
That's nice. I always liked that one.
Yeah, I always wanted copies of those. I just never bought them. So I actually bought that and the other one.
Like I would have gotten that Aurora if I would have paid more attention. Keep scrolling down. I'm at the real bottom here, I guess.
Here.
Yeah, so I think I got that one. I think I got keep going down, down. Oh, those right there, those 66s.
Right here.
FHER Diagra and the La Casera. I got the blue one underneath there in the middle. That AMBC one. Yeah, so I think in the end there was like 4 or 5. Again, not gigantic dollars.
Yep.
But just, you know, a few stragglers of things either I didn't have or that I just wanted to save the pain and suffering and already have them in PSA holder type things.
Yeah. All right, I'm just gonna go to one thing for the Golden Weekly, just as a real quick thing with these. This is the Salo copy of this Ronaldo.
Okay.
Which sells for, you know, a little bit more. So don't necessarily use that price as what you want to pay for like the other ones, you know.
Yeah.
Like at that grade. So but yeah, 400 for these seem to be finding a new equilibrium. The ones for the Crack Campeonato Maradona.
Yep.
Okay, and then one last thing is just a couple of the PWCC weeklies. Let's see here.
Yeah, so we got the oh yeah, that's a good one. Kriegel still under pressure.
Yeah.
Beautiful 60 Jose Inocente there.
Yeah, you don't see a ton of those.
And nice back on that. So that was I think whoever got that, you know, it's got an interesting card for sure.
Yeah, there's not too much there. Let's just go
yeah,
here.
These were bigger prices, 10 grand for the Beckenbauer 7 TTT.
Here's a red and blue PSA 7 for 6K. 3 for a PSA 5 yellow.
Which has to be one of the higher graded. I mean, maybe there's 1 or 2.
Yeah.
2 graded higher, yeah. But yeah, some of these there was a bunch of 57 Garinchas, you know, OMB Garinchas in this and have been over the last few weeks. It's kind of odd that there have been that many. And the reason why you're not seeing the Pele's in there is that it looks like the Pele was the chase sticker of the 57 OMBs, like the McDonald's piece that you needed to get the full prize from that.
Yeah.
We haven't seen one of those in a while.
Yeah, it seems like really light, you know, price wise. So I think if I was a buyer, I'd be pretty happy getting that for $450.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, I guess the last thing we can do is just kind of talk about the auctions on Loudon auctions.
Yep.
I don't have those pulled up, but there was a bunch of Bane's shields for sale. I'm not sure everybody knows what Bane's shields look like, so I'll pull up some Google images for you to see. But most of them are produced, let's say, from a range of the early 1890s through 1910s would be like kind of the main range. Some later.
Some earlier,
earlier, right? Yeah. But I would say the majority are in that span. You know, it seems like early on, a lot of people didn't really take note of those, but it feels like they're getting pushed a little bit more right now. I'm not really sure where I come out on if I feel like they're gonna like the values, like the spike they're getting right now, if that's something we should run with, or if it's just because a bunch of things are getting released right now and there's some hype to them. But there was an Arthur Wharton who there's a few copies of different designs out there. You have one of them. These so basically here's an idea of what they look like. But they with the Wharton sold for like 43,000 with
US
buyer premium
dollars after
Yep.
the buyer premium.
Yep, US dollars. So Wharton was basically one of the pioneers for African descent players to play, you know, in England, and so he wasn't necessarily like, it's not like if you're in the US, it's not like a Jackie Robinson thing where he's like one of the like an exceptional player. It's more like, you know, he was breaking barriers essentially. So
Yeah.
He was more of a track guy actually, right?
Yeah. He wasn't unimportant, but he wasn't, you know, he like certainly like Andrade and Uruguay was just an absolute, you know,
Yeah,
crazy
he was
good
a
player.
star. Yeah.
Yeah. Even Alejandro de los Santos from Argentina, you know, has a great career, you know, relative to, you know, what Wharton, you know, would have had. So, you know, I think his main, you know, he's in the English Football Hall of Fame mostly for what he represents, as opposed to necessarily his exploits on the pitch.
Right.
But $43,000
That's a big
is a
chunk.
lot of money, right?
Yeah.
I mean, we just went through all these auctions, and that's basically, you know, a tick. What 43,000 is probably close to what, you know, a 5.5 PSA Alifa does, right?
Yeah.
I think the 6 did 53 right now. It's a rarity, and all of those Bane shields are one of one type things. There's like 5 different ones known, but you know, it's definitely an interesting thing, and it's calling a lot of interest to Bane shields in general.
Yeah.
There'll be one in another auction here this month that is, you know, of a named player. Also the Geo Smith, which is, you know, on a double shield, sold for like what, 6 or 7,000?
It was 4,100. So
pounds,
I think pounds.
right?
So yeah, it's like 1 point.
Yeah, so it's like
basically like $6,500.
Yeah, so 6 or 7. So
yeah,
that's also a big number for what, you know, is basically a shared shield. So those, which would be probably the highest sale of a Geo Smith card, at least that I know of. And personally, I'd rather have, even though I love the shields, I'd rather have a you know, one that was his own shield, or a Circus Girl, as opposed to, you know, on a dual shield. But certainly a lot of interest in the shield, lots of promotions going on of these. It'll be interesting to see if this is the beginning of a prolonged interest in the space, or if it's kind of a flash in the pan type thing. And I can see both narratives ultimately taking place. I'm not placing a bet on that right now. Are you?
If I were betting, I think I might sell right now. I think that people are gonna like. I mean, it's cool to have those because they are like an oddity. You know what I mean? Like it's just something that's not like, as an American, you don't really understand. Like, you know, we're used to just getting a card out of a pack, or we understand that a card comes out of a tobacco package or things like that. It's kind of cool that like you could essentially order these, right? Like, and they would make them for you. So sometimes they're just made of a team or a club. And so I think that they're pretty cool. And I think like I was definitely interested in them because I did purchase some over the years, but I'm not sure. And maybe it is a bias just from understanding that for so long they weren't really that valuable. That it's maybe hard to catch up. Like sometimes we've had that issue when interest is drawn to them. But if you can get some of the older ones that are like 1880s, 1890s, like I have to imagine that those long term are going to be something of interest to collectors, right? Because those will be truly some of the very earliest issues of soccer cards, and so be careful because they are made over a course of 40 to 50 years. That that what you're buying is of the the era you believe. So basically, on the back of them, you'll see different information, and based on the information, you can kind of date them as to when they were made.
Yeah, so I think what's the good source? I don't think there's a great like dedicated web page. I know that Gary's obviously good at dating them. On the Facebook's page, they you can usually dump something on there and get them. But do you have like a go-to like web page? Because I don't.
No, I don't. Probably your best bet, like Al just said, is the Facebook vintage page. There's a lot of very knowledgeable people there that can probably help you out. Somebody says that Banes came out of packs. Never heard about ordering them. Oh, maybe I'm mistaken. I had understood that you could order them by request. So,
well, I think they also had, at least from what I recall, and again, I wasn't there in the 1880s. I look old, but I'm not that old. But I do remember somebody saying that they would sell them at like the events, and they were kind of made to order at the events as well. So again, events meaning games. But that seems a little weird that you could have a lithograph that you would just do on site.
Well, yeah, I don't believe that they would do it on site. I would have to imagine it would be something that's maybe where it's coming in, where you order them, like from a game, and you pick them up at the next match or something like that.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I have a number of Bane shields. Again, I've always loved them for their shapes, their colors, the vibrancy, just kind of the history. I think the one thing that is the most challenging about the Bane shields, because there's hundreds of them, Bill is just showing them on a screen, a bunch of different examples, is just the checklists, right? To me, there's only a handful of players that are really interesting, despite loving the examples of like the different shapes and the colors. But there are lots of great non-sports flag sets that I find super interesting from the 1880s of countries that no longer exist, and the colors and the art. So, for me, it just, the checklists just aren't as robust as I would, if you look at most British sets from the 1910s, there's probably more players in any given set. I could probably name, 6 or 7 players from the Three Nuns set that I would, want to pick up, as opposed to, I can probably only name 5 or so that have Bane shields that I know of. Again, maybe more a result of how I collect, but that's always been my problem with the Bane shields.
Yeah, I mean, just relative to like what the market desires at the moment, which you got Meredith Bloomer, Geo Smith, if we include Wharton, because there's just not much out there of him.
Patty Folk.
Folk. Like those are the players that are highly collectible, unless you have people who are collecting teams and particular players of those teams. Like, you have Liverpool collectors. Of course, those are going to sell greater, to those collectors. So, yeah, it's I mean, I think they're cool. Like I've bought a lot of Celtic ones over the years, and totally happy with those in my collection. It's bought one of Killarney, just because of fond memories of being in Killarney. It's just dumb stuff like that. So, like, that's why, like, I'm surprised that they would make. It was so broad, right? Like, there's so many things, like different sports, different locations, just a ton of different, like, things made, and some very precise of a player, others just super generic, and so, I mean, they're cool, and they're definitely worth digging into. Ed says if he's a buying man, he'd be a buyer of the Bane Shield. So we have a little bit of a different perspective right now, and that very well, he may very well be be right in that regard.
Yeah,
and it's just hard for my brain to calibrate just based on the past. So,
and I'm a hold. So you've got you're a
I mean,
sell. I'm a
let's
hold.
be real. It's not like I'm selling them. So,
and to buy, I mean, yeah, I'm not selling any of mine. I'm also not importantly buying any. I mean, I was not even close. I know a lot of people like, oh, I'm like, okay, I have one Wharton. That's enough for me, especially at 43K or 45K for the next bid or whatever it was.
Yeah.
I don't know, 40. If it sold for 43, it was 43,100. That was one of the most painful auction experiences I've ever lived through in $100 increments all the way up.
Yeah, Ed says he's a long-term holder. He thinks they're the most attractive cards ever made and cheap compared to more common soccer. Yep, I can't argue with any of that.
Yeah,
some of the designs are just art.
Yeah, and if you looked at the market cap and you just said, hey, okay, you could get all of the Wharton cards, all 5 of them, if they were at that value, it would be $200,000, and you'd have all 5 of these historic pieces. Is that, I'm sure the value, if you watch USMNT's videos, you'd see the value of the Mbappe sticker, is worth $1 million, just a sticker, one of many, many rookie options, right? So, when you calibrate it like that, you get it. But then again, so many more people know who Mbappe is versus Wharton, and probably care more about that than Wharton. So you got to be a little careful on calibrating interest. I was just talking to somebody the other day, where they were complaining how much a Pele Alifa sells for, given the rarity of like a, I can't remember what player, but let's just say Luis Monti. And I'm like, yeah, but 99.9% of soccer collectors know who Pele is, and probably less than 2% know who Monti is. And in society, probably 99 point, or 98% know who Pele is, and 0.01 know who Luis Monti is. So, you can't expect, even for a rare card, to be worth more than the Pele. Just
right.
It's just not realistic. But sometimes people have a hard time. So I think sometimes we get overly excited in super rare issues, just because the fact that they're rare. The best case scenario is super rare, but not like never seen, and the market knows that they're out there, and it was a good, important player, kind of like a Bloomer St. Pete's. I would have rather had the Bloomer St. Pete's, frankly, than the Wharton Shield. Yep. And by the way, I own a Wharton Shield, but I don't own a Wharton St. Pete's, and it went for a little less.
A Bloomer St. Pete's,
yeah.
What would you buy if you had $500 to $600 for a Maradona?
I'd probably buy right now the 78 crack. You can probably get a PSA 1.5, maybe even a 2 that looks really nice.
Yeah,
that's a great option. It's my second favorite rookie. I don't think you can get into a 77 disc. at that price.
Maybe mine.
Yeah, maybe the football version, but yeah.
But
no, but yeah, that's kind of it. I mean, I think that there's some signs of excitement in the market. I think there's a narrative here of a burgeoning, burgeoning demand and some stabilization. You can see we have a dearth of things in the Premier at PWCC. People aren't willing to sell at these prices, and other things are bouncing. And I think that some of the sales, especially on the high end, give us some feel that we may be headed in a different direction. Probably too early to call, and in the bottom's best seen in looking backwards, but that's kind of how I feel where we are right now.
Yep, I hear you. Well, thanks everybody that was in the chat. Really appreciate you participating and joining us. We'll be doing another one in a month, and if you get a chance, join the Discord, and we'll see you there. Thanks
Everybody.